Good evening, good evening, good evening, my brothers and sisters. Come on in to the dinner table tonight. This is your brother Tony, so come on in, come on in. Go ahead and invite some more family members and friends to the dinner table. We got some good food for the soul this evening. And keep in mind, my brothers and sisters, we may have some guests, so when the guests come in, just scoot down a little bit so they can sit down and get some of that good food for the soul. This is a holiday weekend. Happy Father's Day to those of you that acknowledge Father's Day. How you doing? How you doing? Happy Father's Day. If this is your first time at the dinner table, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I talk about relationships. I talk about relationships basically from a spiritual point of view. And what do I mean by a spiritual point of view? I believe strongly when you look in the book of Genesis, God is the one that created the relationship. First, he created the relationship between him and the man, Adam. Secondly, he created the relationship between him and the woman, Eve. Thirdly, he represented the woman to the man after he had taken out a rib from Adam. And in the presence of God, Adam said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, I should call a woman because she came from man. That's the position that I come from when it comes to a relationship, my brothers and sisters. So keep in mind, that's where I come from. Now, if this is your first time at the dinner table and you have another alternative view of relationship, you can do whatever you choose to do. You have what is called a free will. But I will let you know that if you're at the dinner table, I talk about the relationship based between a man and a woman. But I encourage you to still stay here at the dinner table. So you might really like some of this good food for the soul. And I would like to tell you this, my brother and sister. I'm on two different platforms. I'm on the book and I'm on the tube. I'm on two of them, the book and the tube. So some of you that are on the tube, you may not see the people that are on the book, their comments and their name, and vice versa. Those you that on the book, I may make a reference to those on the tube. You may not see their names and comments, but I'm going to call out their names and comments. And I want you to know this, my brother and sister. I want you to all feel free that you can make a comment or you can just express yourself along the way while we're having this broadcast tonight from the dinner table. With that said, we're about to get into a good topic this evening. And the topic for tonight is on the menu now, on the menu, because we're at the dinner table. What can you do when you've messed up in a relationship? This is what we're going to talk about this evening. What can you do when you mess up in a relationship? Now, what should you do, my brother, and what should you do, my sister, if you were the one that messed up in a relationship? Because a lot of time when the relationship go left, most of the time, the person that telling the story, most of the time, he or she pretend that he or she is the victim. But a lot of time when the relationship is having a bump in the road, a lot of times it could be you, brother, or it could be you, sister, that was the cause of the relationship going south. And this is what we're going to talk about tonight. What can you do if you messed up in a relationship? Now, we're going to go to God's word first for the appetizer. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to look at Matthew 5:23 through 24. Again, Matthew chapter 5, 23 through 24. And Jesus is doing the talking. It states, therefore, if you offer your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave the gift there in front of the altar. First go and reconcile to them, then come and offer your gift. So let me be clear, my brother and sister. If you are a follower of Christ, and you know that you were the cause of the relationship going south, you were the one, and you remember that you were the one, there's no need of trying to have a good relationship with God unless you get that relationship in a way where you can have fellowship with a God. So what Jesus is actually saying, if you come to worship him and you have a problem with someone, Go first and try to fix it. That's what it basically saying. Go first and try to fix that relationship. Now, there's a possibility that when you're trying to fix the relationship, that man or that woman may not accept your apology, but we're going to talk about that shortly. So, but you need to do your part. Now, as I stated, what can you do when you mess up the relationship? First of all, my brother and sister, if you know that you messed up the relationship, you need to look at yourself and take responsibilities. That's what you need to do, my brother and sister. If you the one who messed up the relationship, you need to take responsibility. Now, let's say, for example, brother, you were in a relationship with a good woman and you know she's a good woman. Or sister, you was in a relationship with a man and you know he was a good man, but you messed it up. Now, as you all know, my brother and sister, in most relationships, if you listen to most people, they always make it seem like the man or the woman messed up. But little do that man or woman that's telling the story tell both sides of the story, because there's his side, her side, and the truth. And most of the time you hear one version of it. Like if a man and a woman having a problem with his or her mate, more than likely he or she going to tell the family and friends, even co-workers or social media, that his or her mate did something, but they're rather going to tell you what he or she did to contribute to their mate doing what he or she did. Okay, so everybody, you need to understand your position in a relationship. Now, my brother and sister, most of the time when there's a problem in a relationship and it's a good man or a good woman, more than likely that good man or good woman going to come and talk to you, will try to talk to you to resolve it. And if that person come to you to try to resolve it and you ignore that person, you are setting the relationship up for a fall anyway. Because when it comes to a relationship, my brother and sister, you got to understand from the beginning of the relationship that you and that person are not perfect. A lot of time when a man and woman get into a relationship, the man or the woman is short-sighted. So when you get into a relationship, you got to recognize, my brother, you got to recognize, my sister, that you're getting into a relationship with an imperfect man and an imperfect woman, and you're imperfect. So when you go into a relationship, my brother and sister, you got to understand there's a possibility that you're going to have a storm in a relationship. You're going to have a storm in a relationship. The question is, are you causing the storm? Now, there are some men and some women that you initiate conflict in the relationship. A lot of time you can have a good man or a good woman in the that you're in a relationship with, and something outside the relationship could be causing you mental torment or emotional torment. And instead of you dealing with that situation, you want to place your frustration on that man or woman that you're in a relationship with that didn't even have anything to do with it. Instead of dealing with that man or woman or situation that's on the outside of the home, but you are transferring it onto the person that actually got your back. And what happens? You come home, instead of you being loving and kind like you used to, you use that man or woman as a punching bag when you shouldn't be doing that. The man or woman tries to talk to you, you act like you ain't got no understanding. And then when you act like you ain't got no understanding, that man or woman gets confused. And then you led that man or woman possibly to shutting down on you. So like I said, most of the time when a man or woman are that really into you and you shut them down and you mistreat that man or woman, more than likely, like I stated, he or she would try to talk to you to try to resolve it. So if you do not resolve it, the next thing that's going to happen is that person going to start shutting down on you. And when that person starts shutting down on you, that person going to try to, on a conscious level, see whether or not you really care for him or her. And if you really don't care for him or her, what's that person going to normally do? That person going to probably start, if he or she can't talk to you, more than likely he or she going to go talk to someone else. Because most of the time, when a man or woman have a problem within a relationship, instead of them talking to God, more than likely they're going to go talk to a family member or friend or co-workers or social media. But you don't want that to happen. But brother and sister, you the one who put that man or woman in a position to go talk to someone else, and you don't want to do that. But since you the one who did whatever you did and you mess up the relationship, and then that you call that person to shut down, and as time go on, and time go on, there's a possibility that man or woman will be frustrated to the point where he or she leaves you. And the old saying go like this: you don't miss the water until the well run dry. So after a while, if that man or woman leaves and you try to get in a relationship with someone else, that good man or that woman, you got to understand that he or she cannot be replaced. Once you have a good man in your life, sister or brother, once you have a good woman in your life, he or she cannot get replaced. So what do? You, brother, and you, sister, you got to recognize that you were the one that caused the breakup in the relationship. Because a lot of time when you be pointing one finger at that person, you got three coming back at you. So this is a major problem relationship, taking responsibility. Most women a lot, and then a lot of men, you want to play the part of the victim. So the victim is not always the woman. Sometimes men play out the victim. So you're gonna have to stop getting into that victim role, my brother, and such. You got to stop doing that victim role. You got to take responsibility. And if you want to reconcile a relationship, you can't play games, because a lot of time, even brother, when you or you sister drive that good man or woman out of the relationship, you want to play mental game with that person, see will that person come back to you. If you were the one that responded for that person leave, my brother and sister, you the one that should reach out to that man or woman. Hopefully he or she is receptive to you to try to reconcile, especially if the relationship is between a husband and a wife. There's a strong possibility that the relationship can be reconciled. It's a possibility. That doesn't mean that it will happen, but you need to still make the effort. So what's going to happen, my brother and sister, if you cause that man or woman to leave, that's a good man or a good woman, I'm telling you now, he or she cannot be replaced. And it goes like this: whatever you reap, you sow. So if whatever you did to that man or woman to drive them out of relationship, and you try to get in another relationship, whatever you did, it's going to be done to you. And you're not going to be content. You're not going to be at peace being with someone else, because in the back of your mind, you know that a good man and a good woman left you and you caused it. So if you recognize that you caused that man or woman to leave, my brother and sister, it's your responsibility, not going through someone, but it's your responsibility to reach out to that man or woman. And if you decide to reach out to that man or woman, and that man or woman is receptive to listening to you, when you go in, you don't go in trying to flip the gas like that man or woman. You got to go in and you got to say, look, I messed up. You don't say what he or she did or didn't do. You take full responsibility and say, I'm the one who messed up. It's all on me. And that's and I'm going to tell you, brother, sister, that's very effective. If that person still, if that man or woman, a good man or woman still have feeling for you, there's a strong possibility that the relationship can be reconciled. So when you reach out to that man or woman and they allow you to speak and you take full responsibility, that's a starting point of reconciling. So if you really want to reconcile with that person and that person give you a doorway, what you have to do, my brother and sister, you have to pray that the Lord to talk to that man or woman that you messed up with. Now, some people would say, what is the main cause of a relationship breaking up? A lot of people would think that it's quote unquote cheating. But believe it or not, my brother and sister, a lot of time when relationship come to a close, a lot of time it could be money problem or everything else. But most people will say it's cheating. But it's several reasons why a relationship go to the south, okay? But whatever the relationship is, it can be resolved, my brother and sister. There's nothing that can prevent a relationship from rekindling itself, but it take a willing participant. That man or that woman, that good man or woman, he or she got to forgive you. That's a key thing. You hope that that man, sister, or brother, you hope that that woman forgive you. Now, there are some men and women, once you do something to them, there's a strong possibility that he or she won't forgive you. Because there's sometimes people hold grudges. I mean, they do. So you hope that that man or woman doesn't hold a grudge against you and have a point of communication where he or she could listen to you out. So if that man or woman that you missed the relationship with, if that man or woman allow you to talk to him or her, like I said, you take responsibility and don't try to rush the relationship to be just like it used to be, because it take time, my brother, and it take time, my sister, for that person, even though that man or woman may forgive you, it's still going to take time. And you might not get that same person back. Even though he or she decide to be in a relationship with you, you may get the same person, you may not. But there's a strong possibility, especially if that man or that woman is a Christian. Because if that man or woman is a Christian, he or she should know that he or she's supposed to forgive. Now, there are some Christian brothers and sisters, they can hold grudges too. It ain't all about worldly men and worldly women, but it's some Christian men and women that can hold a grudge. But let me tell you, if that person is receptive, you got something going on. Now, what happened if you drive a good man or a good woman out of a relationship and he or she doesn't have anything, don't want nothing to do with you? If that man or woman clearly tells you that he or she doesn't want to get back in a relationship with you, I know it's going to be hard, brother. I know it's going to be hard, sister. It's going to be hard because you're going to feel rejected. How you doing, Sister Cheryl? Work to the dinner table. You're going to feel rejected. Once a man and once a woman decide to leave you and he or she fix his or her mind on it, there's nothing you can do. Thank you, Sister Cheryl, for the happy Father's Day. Thank you. So, my brother and sister, listen. If you drove that person out of relationship, it's going to be one or two things. He or she either going to be receptive and talk to you about it, or he or she going to reject you. Either way it goes, you got to take full responsibility, okay? You got to take full responsibility. Now, if that person decides not to communicate with you, sometimes it may take time because that person, it's a possibility that that man or woman is hurt. So it may seem like it's a full rejection, but then again, that man or woman, you got to give him or her time. If you messed up in it, you got to give that man and woman time. You can't force the relationship to be like it used to be. You got to decide to give that man and woman time. Do not pressure him or her. Now, this is a strong indication. If you messed up and that man or woman gone, that good man or woman gone, and you want to try to get the relationship back together, and that man or woman say, look, give me some time to think about it. Give him or her time. Give them time. If they ask for time, give them time. Don't force it on them, because guess what? You the one that caused the relationship to go south. So don't force it. Give him or her time. That's all you can do. Give him or her time. And don't keep calling them if they say, give me time. Don't keep texting them and say, give me time. Don't go by that wherever the mood. Don't go by there. Don't do none of that. Give him or her time, because they have to process it out. Now, at that particular time, It's a strong possibility that when he or she said, give me time, they may not come back. So you got to be aware of it. But the only thing you could do, my brother and sister, if you messed up the relationship and you want that man or woman to come back to you when you know, the only thing you could do is pray to God to help. But let me tell you, if you pray to God, God is not going to force that man or woman to come back to you. He's not going to do that because God gave that man or woman a free will. But what God can do, if that man or woman decide to forgive you, God could work through that man or woman hard to actually forgive you. So that is hope. There's hope. But before it get to you messing up in a relationship, my brother, so you got to understand this. Brother, if God called you to find a good woman and he brought a good woman to you, sister, God called a good man to find you. This is what you need to do at the initial part of the relationship. Never take that man or woman for granted. Never do that. Never take them for granted. Because if God bring a good man to you, sister, or brother, if God bring a good brother, God bring a good woman to you, or sister, God bring a good man to you, never take that man or woman for granted. Never do that. If you have a problem, how you doing, Sister Renee? Welcome to the dinner table. And thank you for the happy Father Day. Brother and sister, at the initial part of the relationship, you got to understand this. You got to decide, look, I'm going to do whatever I can do. That's right, Sister Renee. Never take a person for granted. You got to decide, you got to put in your mind, I'm going to try my best not to mess up. And this work, whenever you get into a serious committed and covenant relationship, it's going to be work, my brother and sister. It's going to be work. Now, when you're in a relationship with someone, you have to respect that man or woman too. And if you having problem with somebody else or a situation, if you having problem on your job with other people, or you having some kind of financial problem and stuff, never use your mate as a punching bag. It's not him or her. It could have been a decision that you made, brother, a decision you made, sister, or whatever circumstance you got in. Don't ever use your mate as a punching bag, because if you, brother, and you, sister, are one, because if you having a problem, you got to understand that home, that was your peace should be at. You should have peace at home. Whatever happening out there, you should be able to talk to your mate and listen to you, and your mate may have some good suggestions to help you, because you don't know whether or not God will use your mate to try to talk to you from a point where you could see clearly instead of trying to process all that stuff to yourself. The worst thing you could do, my brother and sister, like say, for example, something happening to you on the outside of the home, and your mate know you well. If you in a serious committed and covenant relationship, your mate know your temperament. Your mate know how you normally feel. Your mate know if you're a talkative person, if you're a quiet person, whatever. Your mate could tell if something is wrong with you. And if your mate asks you, is there anything wrong with you? Never lie to them and say, no, nothing ain't wrong. Just tell them. If you don't want to talk about it, just say, there's something that I'm dealing with, but I don't really want to talk about it right now. That's all you have to do. Just tell your mate you really don't want to talk. Don't lie to your mate and say there's no problem. Don't ever do that. Just say, I don't want to talk about it right now. Don't do that. Be straight up with that mate, because he or she know you. And if you have a good man or woman, he or she going to be there for you. But if you turn around and you use that mate as a punching bag, you doing wrong, brother. And you're doing wrong. So that's where, back to this scripture, what Jesus would talk about in Matthew 5:23 through 24. Matthew 5:23 through 24. Matthew 5:23 through 24. Jesus said this: therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there you remember that your brother or sister has something against you. Listen, They have something against you. Leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and reconcile to them, then come and offer your gift. Even the Lord telling us, my brother, sister, thank you, Sister Cheryl, if you have a problem, and that brother, sister could be your mate. If you having a problem, how you doing, Sister Pamela? Similar work to them time. If you having a problem with that man or woman, how you gonna have a good relationship with the Lord? The Lord telling you before you come talk to me, you need to go solve that with him or her. Then you come and talk to me, because see, the Lord wants you to, at best, to try to have peace. You understand? If the Lord have peace with you, my brother and sister, he could that peace could overflow to that man or woman that you having issues with. You understand that? So my throat getting a little dry. Hold on. Now, let's say the man or woman, they get to the point where he or she leaves you. You messed up. You realize you messed up. What's the best approach? What's the best approach when that man or woman leaves you? What is the best approach? The first thing you need to do is pray to God to give you wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and discernment how to approach that a man or woman, because you don't know the temperament all the way of that man or woman. You need to pray to God for guidance. And when you pray to God for guidance, you still got to understand this, that man or woman that left you still have a free will. God is not going to force him or her to go against their will. So that's why you have to seek the Lord to help you to know how to go to him or her. And when you go, if you know you messed up, you have to go to that man or woman in a humble spirit. You got to go to them very humble. You can't go to them arrogant or at like, look, I see, I told you I'm sorry, and you need to accept it. Don't go to them. You got to go to them humble, because remember, you the one that messed up. Him or her didn't mess up. It was you, brother. It was you, sister. So you got to go to that man or woman in a humble way. Now, one of three things going to happen, and I'm going to rephrase. I'm going to tell you what that is. He or she may listen to you a little bit, or he or she may say, I need time, or he or she may say no. So one of the three things going to happen. He or she may be receptive. He or she may say, I need time, or he or she may say no. And let me tell you what's going to hurt you, my brother. So let me tell you, this is why it's very important that you don't try to mess up a relationship. If you, brother, have a good woman, or sister, if you have a good man, and you cause the relationship to come to an end, you want me to tell you what's going to really hurt you, brother, and what's going to really hurt you, sister. Sister, what's going to really hurt you if you see that good man with another woman. And, brother, you know what's going to really hurt you? You see that good woman with another man. It's going to crush you. How you doing, Sister Paul? Welcome to the dinner table. And, brother, you don't want to see the woman that really love you, and then you see her with another man and she's smiling, and you know you the one who drove her out. Or, sister, you knew that was a good man, and you the one who messed up, and you see him with a good woman and smiling. If you see a man or woman in another relationship, there's a possibility that you have lost him or her. So the only thing you could get out of that is, I messed up, I learned from it, and if I get in another relationship, I know not to do that anymore. But before you get to messing up, my brother and sister, try your best not to mess up in a relationship. Like I say, my brother, and like I say, my sister, never take that man or woman for granted. That's a key thing. And you have to respect that man or woman. That man or woman, if you're in a serious committed covenant relationship, that you are on the same team. You are teammates. How can a house stand if it's divided? A house divided cannot stand. And that's what, if you're in a serious committed in a covenant relationship, you got to work on that foundation, and that foundation, you want that house to stand. And this is where the Lord come in, my brothers and sisters. You brother and you sister, that's why you got to stay in harmony with Jesus. And when you stay in harmony with Jesus, a lot of time before you say something, it comes to your mind first. Everything that comes to your mouth, it goes through your mind first. So you need to ask the Lord, if you got one of those acid tongues, you need to tell the Lord, put some brakes on my tongue. You know your temperament. And you have to ask the Lord to help you to be able to think, so you can know how to convey your thoughts and ideas to your mate. I beg you, my brother and sister, a good relationship is hard. If you are blessed enough, brother, and the Lord calls you to find a good woman, or sister, if you blessed and the Lord calls a good man to find you, don't you know that was a gift from God? Any relationship that God, Son, Jesus bring together, that's a blessing. There's a whole lot of relationships, my brother and sister, they are going through the motion. There's a lot of people that you see in public. There's a lot of people that you see in social media. They look good on the outside, but their house is divided. They are roommates. They talk only when necessary. They may sleep in the same bed, but they're roommates. They may even sleep in separate rooms. They're roommates. And that's terrible, my brother. That's terrible, my sister, when you are in a serious committed covenant relationship, but you living as roommates. You should be friends because you on a team. And this is where forgiveness come in at. So, my brother and sister, when you get into a relationship, you need to understand it. Listen to me clearly. You're gonna mess up. Let me just be clear about it. You're gonna mess up. Brother, you're gonna do something to mess up in a relationship. Sister, you're gonna do something to mess up in a relationship. You know why? Because you are not perfect. So, brother, the woman that you get into a serious committed covenant relationship, you got to understand it. She's not perfect. She's gonna mess up, especially when you be together for a while. It's something that she's gonna do that's going to rub you the wrong way. And the same thing, sister, is something that he's going to do that's gonna rub you the wrong way. You're gonna mess up. It's just a matter of when. You're going to do something to mess up. You're not going to smile every day in a relationship, brother. You're not going to smile every day in a relationship, sister. You're going to have some major disagreements. You're going to mess up. That's why it's very critical that you have a relationship with God. How you doing, Sister Flo? Welcome to the dinner table. It's very critical that you have a tight relationship with God. Don't you know, my brother, and don't you know, my sister, that the tongue, it has the power of life and death. Your tongue, it has the power of life and death. And that's why it's very critical, my brother and sister, like when you have a disagreement, you got to be very careful about that tongue. You got to be very, very careful because a word you say, it could cripple your relationship for years. It could cripple it. Let me tell you, let me give you an example. Like my wife and I, we discussed this. And a long time ago, my wife was on at the dinner table with me, and we talked about this, a while back. So this is what my wife said. This is what she said. She said that it appears that women hold on to stuff longer than men. That's what she said. Now, she's a woman. And let me tell you this, men can hold on to stuff too, but this is how it goes with a man and a woman. Let's say, for example, a man and a woman have a major disagreement in a relationship. Okay? They have a real major disagreement. And then, this hypothetical, they say that they sorry, right? They say that they sorry. But let's say if the woman holding on to something, right? And she might be good, she might be a good actress in going through it, but it's still not resolved. And this is how a lot of men think. I ain't saying all men, but a lot of men think this. If the woman said, I'm sorry, if the woman accept my apology, the man thinking everything is cool. But it's not cool. Because she still haven't forgive him. And some men, they could hold on to stuff too. I'm going to tell you how I can tell how people could hold on to stuff. And you all know this. Let's say, for instance, you have another disagreement. And whatever happened on that last disagreement, it's going to come up again. So that letting you know that it was not resolved. Because a lot of relationships do this. You'll say that you got past something, but you keep bringing some stuff up. I have a question for you, brother and sister. When people die, and you bury them, and you leave them in the graveyard, is it wise to go back and dig that person's body back up? You ain't gonna get nothing but a lot of dead men bones, right? And that's how it be with a disagreement. You say that you're sorry. That's what you say. So if you say that you're sorry, you know, you never bring that thing back up, that disagreement that you had when you messed up. I'm going to tell you this about my wife and me. We are a long way from being imperfect. I mean, we're a long way from being perfect. Excuse me. We're a long way from being perfect. But let me tell you this about my wife and I. To this day, on Father's Day, from when we met some years ago to right now, not one time has she brought up something that I messed up on. I'm not saying that she didn't think about it. I'm not saying that, because I know that surprised some of you brothers and sisters that your brother Tony messed up. Yes, I have messed up. But she never brought it up. And guess what? Little sweet Cinderella have messed up before. But did I bring it up? No, I didn't bring it up. That's not saying that it didn't come to my mind. You see, that's a key. That's maturity, my brother and sister. Maturity, you know where the maturity comes from? It has something to do with the relationship with Christ. Let the dead be dead. Don't bring up old stuff when you done messed up. Why you want to do that? And that's what a lot of men and women do. They always regurgitating that bad stuff up. Why you want to do it? They're just like a dog. When a dog gets sick, a dog throw up the vomit, right? When the dog throw up the vomit, you know what a dog will do? When the dog throw up the vomit, the dog will walk away, and the dog will look back, and the dog will turn back around and lick the vomit back up. That's how some brothers and sisters are. You've been to throw that mess out there, then you go and lick it back up. You shouldn't be doing that, brother. You shouldn't be doing that, sister, when you mess up. Now, is there anything in a relationship, my brother and sister, that cannot be resolved? Anything in a relationship, brother, or anything in a relationship, sister, can be resolved. Now, this is one thing a whole bunch of people will say. If he or she cheat on me, I would, that's it. That's it. That is it. I'm not going to forgive him or her for cheating on me. My question to you, my brother and sister, this. Have you cheated before in your life, brother? Have you cheated before in your life, sister? I'm going to help you out. Every man and every woman have cheated when it comes to a relationship. Now, a lot of you say, I ain't never cheat. A lot of you women say, I ain't never cheated on a man. And then some of you brothers say, I ain't never cheated on a woman. Nope. I said every man and every woman have cheated. What do I mean by that? We're talking about a relationship now. And the relationship I'm talking about with God. On a spiritual level or a spiritual tip, brother, you have cheated on God. You were not faithful to God. Sister, on a spiritual level, you were not faithful to God. Every man and every woman have been unfaithful to God. Even when you follow the Lord Jesus, my brother and sister, you sin, right? Because the Bible said, if you have no sin, the truth is not in you. That's what the Bible say. It said, if you say, John said that, he said, if you say that you have no sin, the truth ain't in you. Okay. And it said, if you do sin, we have an advocate with the Father, with Jesus Christ, right? So men and women can understand this concept. If I mess up, all I have to do is go to God and say, I'm sorry. And when I go to God and say, I'm sorry, God gonna forgive me. And when God forgive me, I'm good. That's how a lot of men and women think. But a lot of men and women are hypocrites when it comes to dealing with a man and a woman the same way. If you want God to forgive you, brother, if you want God to forgive you, sister, you got to forgive your mate. But Tony, you don't know what he or she did to me. They did it one time. I'm out. How many times, brother? How many times, sister, have you sinned against God? What if God had the attitude, I know he or she going to do it again? What if God had the attitude, I know you're going to do it again. So why are you coming saying you sorry? You know you're going to do it again. You telling me it's Sunday night. You telling me you sorry and you're going to do the same thing probably Monday or Tuesday. And then you're going to run back and want me to forgive you. Now, there are some men and women say, well, I'm not Jesus. And a lot of you have heard this before, haven't you? I can forgive him or her, but I can't forget. Haven't you all heard that before? I can forgive, but I can't forget. I'm not Jesus. Okay. You want to think like that, brother and sister? You want to think like that? Guess what? If you don't forgive your brother and sister, and we talk about brother, we talk about your mate. If you don't forgive your mate, the Lord is not going to forgive you. How about that? Think about that. He's not going to forgive you. Look at all those things that we have done against God over all these years. And the Lord continue to let us live. We're going to mess up. We're going to mess up. And then when we mess up, we have to go to the Lord and say, I'm sorry. You don't do like Adam and Eve did. Adam blamed God and Eve. When the Lord came in the garden, when Adam and Eve had messed up, you see, Adam and Eve, they were the first ones to mess up in a relationship. They both messed up against God because that was a relationship, right? And when they messed up against God, instead of Adam, when God talked to the male first, he said, what have you done? Have you eaten from, when Adam said, we were naked. That's why we hid. Then the Lord said, who told you were naked? Did you eat from the tree or the garden of what I told you not to eat? And then Adam said, the woman that you gave me. You see, Adam did not take responsibility. He tried to flip it on God and Eve. And then Eve turned around and she flipped it on the serpent, right? Eve did not take responsibility. They would not say, I did it, Lord. They cheated against the Lord. The first violation of relationship, Adam and Eve cheated against because they had a relationship with God. But they started conversating with Satan. So that was spiritual adultery from a spiritual standpoint. Now, let me bring it down to a man and woman. What can you, brother, what can your woman do where you can't forgive her? Answer that, brother. What can your woman do that you cannot forgive her? Sister, what can that man do that you can't forgive him? If y'all, that's a siren that's going down the street. If y'all hear that, I'm sorry. But what is it, brother, or what is it, sister, you cannot forgive your mate on if you messed up? If you messed up, brother, if you messed up, sister, Don't you want your mate to forgive you? You want your mate to forgive you. So if your mate mess up, you need to forgive him or her. Like, let me tell you this. When I got married to Cinderella and she got married to me, I went into the relationship. This was my mindset going into a relationship. My relationship, how you doing, Jacqueline? Welcome to the dinner table. When I met my wife, I went into the relationship like this. I know she's going to mess up. I did not go into the relationship thinking that my wife was perfect. I did not go into the relationship put my wife on no pedestal. She did not come into no relationship put me on no pedestal. You see, that's the dangerous part, my brother and sister. When you put your mate or yourself, that's worse. When you put yourself on a pedestal. And then you looking down on your mate and you want your mate to always dot the I's and cross the T's. But I'm telling you, when you get in a relationship, you're going to mess up. I'm going to tell you this too, my brother and sister. Since you imperfect, you're going to do something imperfect in a relationship. You see, the big thing about some people, the big thing is what they think adultery. That's the big thing on a lot of people's mind. That's one of the first things people say if he or she cheat. I'm going to ask you a question. What weighs the most? Adultery or lying? What weighs the most? Adultery or lying? What weighs the most? Stealing money out the bank account without telling your mate when y'all made an agreement to run it by one another before you do that? You're going to mess up. Brother and sister, let me tell you this, my brother and sister. You're going to mess up in a relationship. You're going to do something. I guarantee you, you're going to do something. Your mate may not catch you doing something, but you know you messed up. And then if you keep messing up, it's going to be brought to your mate attention. So back to when my wife and when we went into the relationship, I never put my wife on a pedestal. I would give her compliments and stuff, but I never put her on a pedestal. You know why? Because I know she's going to mess up. And you see, if you put a man or a woman on a pedestal, and when he or she mess up, it's going to be harder for you to forgive him or her. Just think about it. It's going to be harder for you to forgive. Now, if you put your mate on a pedestal and you think he or she won't do nothing, you done set yourself up. I have heard some men and women say, my husband, my wife won't do that. How you know what your husband and wife would do if you're not around you're not around your husband and wife all the while? The only thing you could say is, I hope my husband or I hope my wife will not do this or that. And another thing you need to say, I hope that I will not do this or that. Because tell me this, my brother, sister, in your lifetime, have you said to yourself, or you just told this to someone, I would never do that? Whatever you said you did not do, you did it. And I'm going to tell you another thing, my brother. So I got another question for you. Your parents, do your parents know everything that you did? That you done? Do they know everything that you have done? Your parents? No. You see, your parent, you were wearing a mask in front of your parent. Your parents don't know everything about you. And you have heard your parent probably say, well, my child is a good child and stuff, but you know some sinful stuff that you have done with your mom or dad that didn't know. Just like your children, they're going to do some stuff. So be careful even about your children. Don't never say what your child will or will not do. The only thing you can say, I hope that he or she, because guess what? Your children wear a mask in front of you. You don't know everything about your child. You don't. You don't know everything about nobody. You don't even know yourself completely, brother. You don't even know yourself completely. I don't know myself completely. I'm in motion. I'm learning more about myself by my relationship with God through Jesus Christ. You understand? So if you mess up, you got to leave room for messing up. You got to let some stuff roll, my brother and sister. And if you mess up, do not tell your mate, I did this because you did that. That's immature. What you doing? Playing tit for tat. There are so many relationships that play tit for tat. For example, let's use the adultery thing, for example, okay? Let's use the adultery thing or cheating, okay? Don't you know some people play the game called Get Back, right? One of them had went outside the home and they got busy with someone else, right? And then when you find out that your mate got busy with someone else, you want to get even, right? No, you don't want to get even. You want to do it more than he or she have done, right? You going to do it, but guess what? Your mate don't know. But you feel satisfied in your mind because you did the same thing, or you double up on your mate, right? What did you get out of it? You didn't get nothing out of it. So when it comes to a relationship, my brother and sister, you got to understand you're gonna mess up, your mate gonna mess up, you're gonna mess up. But you got to control all that mess up. You're going to do it. Okay. So if you know you're going to mess up, look at your mate. I know he or she going to mess up. And if you know you're going to mess up, you can have a very, very peaceful relationship. A lot of people right now, the reason why they're going from relationship to relationship, because a lot of men and women that go from relationship to relationship, he or she messed up. He or she messed up and they want to play the victim. There are so many men and women, when I do my relationship count with my brother and sister, there are so many men and women, when I listen to them, they make the relationship so one-sided. If it's a woman, she make it seem like the man have done everything. If I listen to the man, he make it seem like the woman have done everything, especially if I talk to the man or woman separate. That's why I like to talk to the man and woman together, so I can listen to all the facts. It's just like when you go to court. When you go to court, the jury need to hear both sides of the story so they can make a decision whether you're innocent or guilty. So most of the time when a man and woman telling the story, he or she going to be favorable. Most of the time they hear a man and woman talk about their mate, they rarely talk about what they did wrong. They rarely do it. I had to get it out of them. I have to ask him or her a series of questions. Why? Okay, have you did this or have you done that? And if they be truthful, they'll say that. Then when they start getting truthful, I'll say something like, well, look at here, brother. Look at here, sister. You've been messing up too. So if you've been messing up, why you want to extend forgiveness to your mate? You've been messing up big time. So don't you think you should forgive your mate like you want your mate to forgive you? That's what I tell him, my brother. That's what I'm telling my sister. But anyway, my brother and sister, bottom line, what can you do when you mess up in a relationship? Be responsible. Go to your mate. Be the big person, the big man or the big woman, and say, I messed up. Don't go in there and say, I did this because you did this or you didn't do it. Just say, I did it. I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? Just forgive me. You know what Peter asked Jesus? Peter said, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother? Should I forgive him 7 times 7? And you see, when you 70 times 7, Jesus said, now Peter said, should I forgive him 7 times? And then Jesus said, no, you supposed to forgive them 7 times 7. That's 490 times. But when Jesus was saying 409 times, he wasn't saying you count 409 times. What Jesus was saying is you continue to forgive. That was Jesus' point. Continue to forgive. You know why Jesus said continue to forgive? Because he know that we going to keep messing up before he comes. He know it. And John said, my brother and sister, if you say that you have no sin, the truth is not in you. That's right. My Christian brothers and my Christian sister, if you say that you have no sin, you're a liar. Will I mess up in my relationship with my wife? Yes, I'm going to mess up. I'm going to mess up. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to mess up. Is she going to mess up? Yes, she's going to mess up. I don't know what she's going to do. She don't know what she's going to do. But we got to be responsible when we mess up. That's why I'm telling you, my brother, so you have to look at your mate as a imperfect man or imperfect woman. Never put him or her on no pedestal. Never put yourself on a pedestal. Only Jesus go on a pedestal, because if you don't do no pedestal stuff, it's easier to forgive your mate. A lot of people break up because they can't forgive. They can't forgive. So they go through series or relationship, and they always in our relationship because they can't forgive. And most people that can't forgive, these people, how you doing, Sister Jane Sutton? Welcome to them table. These particular people, they dangerous. Because the people that go from relationship talking about he or she did this. Let me tell you this. I have heard several women say this before. Why you broke up? Men always cheating on me. That's why I left the relationship. Men always cheating on me. Okay. If men always cheating on you, why you keep getting relationships? You the common denominator. Why men keep cheating on you? You see, most women be talking about when a man cheat on, they talking about sexual sins, right? And I'm going to talk about this too. Listen to me, brother and sister. When it comes, if you're not married, if you're not married to that man or woman, he or she is not cheating on you because you're not married. And when I say, if a man or woman dating someone else, your brother, sister, listen to me carefully. You're free agents. I know, I'm just trying to be truthful with you. Brother and sister, if you're not married, you're not bound to that man. You're not bound to that woman. You are a free agent. The only time you start being bound to a man or woman when you both come off the market and you get engaged, or then you get married, or you get married. If you're not engaged, I hate to say this, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. If you're not even engaged, how can you say you're in a serious committed relationship? Do you know what commitment means? If you're in a committed relationship, then to move to commitment, that means that you have to do something. You sure if you committed? Well, I mean, you supposed to be engaged with an engagement date, getting ready to get married, or you get married. You see how God look at a relationship. God, I always say this, God look at a relationship between a man and woman. They got to be engaged, getting ready to get married, but thrown, okay? Getting ready to get married, or they get married. God does not recognize a valid relationship between a man and a woman outside of them being betrothed again or engaged to get married or married. Other than that, it ain't a relationship with God. Now you have a friendship. You can have a friendship with someone minus the sex. So I listen to a lot of people that are not married, and they said he or she cheat on me. My question is, are you engaged? No. You're not engaged. Let's be sensible. You're not engaged. Okay, if you're not engaged, explain this to me. You're not engaged. Explain this to me. You're a free agent. What is a free agent? A free agent when you look at it from a sports standpoint, it's just like an athlete. He or she is not signed to a team. You didn't commit to the team did it, because you see, if you commit to the team, they're going to come with what is called a contract, right? So you sign your name on the dotted line, you sign a contract. The same thing when it comes to getting married. You sign that marriage license. That's a contract. Before the contract, you may verbally say, we're going to do this. When you verbally say something, when you go and commit, like when a man and woman say, look, I'm serious about you. Okay, what make you serious about that man or woman? Okay, I'm serious with you. I want only you in my life. Okay, if you serious, that serious should compel you to go to another step. What is that other step? Getting engaged. With a date, then get married. That's how God view it. If you want to do it God's way, that's how you do it. Now, if you want to do it the world way, you can do it the world way. That's why a lot of men and women, you keep messing up in a relationship because you don't understand the nature of a relationship. You can say your girlfriend or boyfriend. Show me in the Bible where girlfriend or boyfriend is acceptable to God. It's not. Show me where boo is acceptable to God. Show me where getting together every now and then is together. Valid with God. You see, when it comes to a relationship, you have to be serious, my brother, sister. Because not, you're going to keep messing up. You're going to keep messing up. You're going to keep messing up. You're going to form these ideas about a relationship. You know why the relationship not working? Because you're not doing it the right way. You're not doing it the right way. And the right way is God's way. You know how I know? I have walked that road before, my brothers and sisters. I know I was messing up. I know I was messing up. So if I was messing up and a woman was messing up, she didn't owe me anything. I didn't owe her anything because we weren't engaged. We weren't married. So you got to get out of this, you single brothers and sisters. Some of you single brothers and sisters, you up in age, right? But you just dating someone. But you got to understand this. You got to have your mindset is that man that you're just dating or that woman that you just dating, you free agents. You're a free agent. You're misleading one another. You're misleading yourself unless you're serious and commit. You may verbally say you commit, but are you really committed? You have to be serious to commit. And when you get serious to commit, you should have a consummated relationship. It's just like an athlete. The team and the athlete say, okay, we're gonna get together. We're gonna be on the same team. Then you sign the contract, right? You sign the contract. When you sign the contract, you get that little check, well, big check, and they give you the equipment, they give you the playbook and everything. You're part of the team. They have committed to you, and you committed to them. Now you won. You're on a team. That's how men and women supposed to do it. You be serious, then you verbally do the verbal thing, and once you do the verbal thing, that's when you get on the team. And that could cut down a whole lot of mess up in relationships. A whole lot. Now, I hope that I brought something to your attention, my brother and sister. When you mess up, be accountable, be responsible. Don't do the gaslighting. Don't try to blame the person for your action. Be the big man, be the big woman, and take responsibility for you messing up in a relationship. Like I have had to fess up when I mess up. I just say I messed up. Instead of because you did this, you did, I messed up. I made a decision. I made my own decision, so therefore I messed up. I love you, brother. I love you, sister. If you have any question or comments, go ahead and put in the comment section. If not, you could get your food and put it on this little takeout, the little dogger bed, and put it in your freezer or refrigerator. I know a lot of you don't have to work tomorrow because it's Juneteenth. I don't have to work tomorrow either. That's why I'm on here late. But those of you that have to go back out into the world and work, get to work safely. If you're off tomorrow, you're off tomorrow. And I hope that you all enjoy tomorrow. Again, those of you guys that might be listening, happy Father's Day. And I hope that your day went well. I hope that your night go well, brothers and sisters. I love you, brothers and sisters. I really, really love you. C'est la vie. Peace out.